Good evening. Tonight, a developing story inside royal circles is stirring renewed conversation about legacy, loyalty, and the future direction of the monarchy. When Catherine, Princess of Wales, steps out for a public engagement, attention often focuses on diplomacy, fashion, or her latest early childhood initiative. But during a recent conversation at a community event, it was a lighter, more personal revelation that captured headlines. Her three children, Prince George of Wales, Princess Charlotte of Wales, and Prince Louis of Wales, have developed a new shared hobby they can't get enough of. According to attendees, Catherine smiled as she described how the children have fallen in love with nature photography and outdoor wildlife journaling, an activity that blends fresh air, creativity, and a touch of friendly sibling competition. While Kensington Palace has not issued a formal statement detailing the hobby, royal sources say the pastime has become a regular feature of family weekends at Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate. The princess reportedly shared that George is particularly fascinated by capturing birds in flight. Charlotte enjoys sketching flowers and labeling them in neat handwriting, and Louis, true to form, prefers snapping energetic shots of squirrels and insects before racing off to his next discovery. The revelation aligns closely with Catherine's long-documented passion for the outdoors. Before joining the royal family full-time, she studied art history at university and has long maintained an interest in photography. In fact, she has personally taken and released several official portraits of her children over the years, earning praise for their natural, informal style. Her advocacy work through the Royal Foundation has frequently emphasized the importance of nature in early childhood development. Experts have noted that outdoor play can boost confidence, creativity, and mental well-being, values that appear central to how she and Prince William, Prince of Wales, are raising their family. The setting for the family's new hobby is ideal. The Windsor estate offers expansive gardens, woodland trails, and lakes, an environment far removed from the urban pace of central London. Since relocating from Kensington Palace to Adelaide Cottage in 2022, the Wales family has prioritized privacy and access to green space for their children. Observers say the move was strategic. It places the family closer to schools while offering a quieter upbringing compared to the spotlight of Buckingham Palace. Catherine has previously spoken about wanting her children to experience as normal a childhood as possible, despite their constitutional roles. The hobby also reflects subtle generational continuity. William himself has often spoken about camping trips and outdoor adventures during his youth, and both he and Catherine are patrons of conservation and environmental causes. William's Earthshot Prize initiative further underscores the family's shared commitment to environmental stewardship. During the engagement where Catherine mentioned the children's new obsession, she reportedly joked that dinner conversations have recently revolved around whose photo is the best. George, now 11, is said to be competitive in a quiet, focused way, studying angles and patiently waiting for the right moment. Charlotte, 9, adds artistic flair to her journal entries, often including colorful sketches alongside her photographs. Louis, 6, brings exuberant energy, proudly presenting slightly blurry but enthusiastic shots. Royal watchers note that this glimpse into domestic life offers something increasingly rare: relatability. In an era when public trust in institutions can fluctuate, small details about shared hobbies humanize the monarchy. It also signals a parenting approach grounded in balance. While George's future as a potential monarch carries immense weight, his daily routine reportedly includes school, sports, and now weekend nature challenges with his siblings. Charlotte, often described as confident and observant, appears equally at ease climbing trees as attending formal ceremonies. Louis, known for his spirited balcony moments during Trooping the Color, channels that same energy into outdoor exploration. The princess has long championed the idea that creativity and curiosity should be nurtured early. Her Shaping Us campaign has focused on the first 5 years of life as foundational. Although George and Charlotte are beyond that stage, the philosophy clearly continues at home. Royal commentators suggest that encouraging photography and journaling accomplishes multiple goals. It limits screen time, promotes mindfulness, and builds confidence. It may also gently prepare the children for a lifetime under cameras by teaching them to see photography from behind the lens rather than always in front of it. Interestingly, Catherine's own photography has occasionally drawn global attention. Her informal portraits have been praised for authenticity, capturing candid smiles rather than stiff poses. By sharing that her children now enjoy similar creative expression, she subtly reinforces the image of a hands-on, engaged parent. Public reaction to the news has been largely positive. Social media users have shared their own family nature photos, with some schools reportedly even incorporating mini wildlife challenges inspired by the royal anecdote. Beyond charm, however, the hobby carries symbolic weight. Environmental consciousness is likely to remain central to the monarchy's evolving public role. By fostering appreciation for wildlife in the next generation, William and Catherine may be shaping future ambassadors for conservation. There is also an educational element. Identifying species, documenting seasonal changes, and observing ecosystems align closely with school science curricula. Palace insiders say the children often compare notes after outings, turning family walks into informal lessons. While official engagements will continue to define their public lives, these private snapshots of domestic routine offer a counterbalance to ceremonial grandeur. They remind observers that behind titles and tradition are children with muddy boots and cameras slung around their necks. Catherine's comments also highlight a broader parenting philosophy within the Wales household: structured duty paired with unstructured exploration. George may one day attend state banquets, but today he is reportedly happiest waiting patiently for a robin to land within frame. The princess has previously emphasized that spending time outdoors brings calm and perspective. In interviews, she has described nature as a source of emotional grounding. Sharing that her children now embrace the same outlet suggests continuity between her public messaging and private life. Whether the hobby endures for years or evolves into new passions remains to be seen. Childhood interests often shift quickly, but for now, according to Catherine's lighthearted remarks, family weekends include friendly photo competitions, colorful journals, and a renewed appreciation for the natural world just beyond their doorstep. In an age dominated by digital distractions, the image of future heirs crouched in grass, studying ladybugs or waiting for butterflies, resonates powerfully. It may not be a grand constitutional development or a historic announcement from a palace balcony, yet in many ways it speaks volumes about how the next generation of royals is being raised, curious, connected to nature, and encouraged to find joy beyond ceremony. The moment occurred during a community visit focused on early childhood development. Catherine, known for her hands-on conversational style, reportedly spoke warmly about how weekends at Adelaide Cottage now revolve around family walks, cameras in hand. Prince George of Wales, she shared, has become particularly focused on capturing birds in flight. Princess Charlotte of Wales prefers documenting flowers and carefully labeling species in her journal. Prince Louis of Wales, meanwhile, approaches the hobby with boundless energy, often producing exuberant, slightly blurred images that he proudly presents anyway. There was laughter in the room. It was a relatable parenting anecdote. But royal reporting rarely stops at the surface. Why would this small domestic detail resonate so widely? Since 2022, the Wales family has lived at Adelaide Cottage, a relatively modest home on the Windsor estate. The move from Kensington Palace signaled a shift in priorities: proximity to schools, greater privacy, and access to expansive green space. Unlike Buckingham Palace, which functions primarily as a ceremonial and administrative headquarters, Windsor offers woodland trails, lakes, and open fields, ideal terrain for young photographers in training. Sources close to the palace have consistently emphasized that the relocation was about normalcy. For George, in particular, who stands second in line to the throne after his father, Prince William, Prince of Wales, childhood must balance preparation with freedom. Nature photography fits squarely within that philosophy. Catherine's personal interest in photography is well documented. She studied art history at university and has personally taken several official portraits of her children, often releasing them for birthdays and special occasions. Her images tend to be natural, softly lit, and candid. Children laughing outdoors rather than posed stiffly indoors. The aesthetic aligns closely with her broader public work around early childhood development and mental well-being. But investigators of royal communications note that nothing in modern monarchy is accidental. Encouraging wildlife photography does several things simultaneously. 1. It aligns the family with environmental awareness. 2. It projects relatability. 3. It reinforces Catherine's long-standing advocacy for outdoor play. When a future king grows up documenting birds instead of staring at screens, it sends a subtle message about priorities. Environmental stewardship has become central to the monarchy's evolving identity. William's Earthshot Prize initiative has positioned him as a global advocate for climate solutions. Catherine has championed nature's role in emotional resilience. The late Queen Elizabeth II famously treasured her time outdoors at Balmoral. By fostering curiosity about wildlife in their children, William and Catherine may be shaping a generational through line. Experts in royal symbolism suggest this continuity is critical. As the institution modernizes, it must connect tradition with contemporary concerns. Climate awareness is one such bridge. A camera pointed at a robin may seem trivial, yet in narrative terms, it builds an image of heirs who understand the ecosystems they may one day advocate to protect. Child development specialists have long emphasized the benefits of outdoor exploration, improved concentration, reduced stress, and heightened creativity. Catherine's Shaping Us campaign highlights the importance of formative experiences in early life. Encouraging journaling and observation aligns precisely with that framework. Unlike passive entertainment, photography requires patience. It teaches perspective, timing, and attention to detail. For George, who will one day navigate constitutional complexities, those qualities are invaluable. For Charlotte, currently third in line, meticulous documentation may nurture confidence and independence. For Louise, whose spirited public appearances often capture headlines, the hobby channels energy constructively. Within hours of Catherine's remarks, headlines ranged from heartwarming to analytical. Some outlets framed the hobby as evidence of down-to-earth parenting. Others examined it as strategic positioning within a slimmed-down monarchy envisioned by King Charles III. Online forums debated whether the anecdote was spontaneous or part of a calculated soft power narrative. Yet even skeptics acknowledged its resonance. In a media landscape dominated by geopolitical tension and domestic challenges, stories of children photographing butterflies offer respite. The monarchy thrives on such emotional counterweights. There is also a protective dimension to consider. By sharing controlled glimpses of domestic life, the Waleses shape the narrative rather than leaving it entirely to speculation. If the public sees George as a boy fascinated by kestrels rather than solely as a future sovereign, empathy increases. If Charlotte is associated with sketchbooks and field guides rather than palace intrigue, her individuality becomes clearer. Transparency, measured and selective, can diffuse invasive curiosity. Royal childhoods have evolved dramatically over the past century. Previous heirs were raised with stricter formality and greater separation from ordinary experiences. Today's approach appears intentionally balanced. William himself has spoken about wanting to modernize aspects of royal parenting while respecting tradition. Outdoor photography symbolizes that blend, structured learning within unstructured play. There is an intriguing meta layer to this hobby. Royal children are among the most photographed individuals in the world. To place cameras in their hands reverses that dynamic. Instead of always being subjects, they become observers. Media scholars suggest this subtle shift may influence how they process public attention in the future. Understanding composition and framing could foster media literacy, an essential skill for 21st century monarchy. Why does a hobby matter institutionally? Because monarchy, unlike political office, depends heavily on perception. Stories of grounded childhood experiences humanize the line of succession. They counter narratives of detachment or excess. In times of constitutional debate, relatability strengthens legitimacy. George photographing wildlife today reinforces the idea of a monarch connected to land and people tomorrow. Britain's renewed interest in outdoor pursuits surged during recent years, with families rediscovering parks and countryside walks. The Wales children's hobby mirrors that societal shift. Rather than appearing isolated from national trends, the family seems in step with them. That alignment is rarely accidental. Will George pursue environmental leadership as a core aspect of his reign? It is far too early to say. Will Charlotte carve out a distinctive role, perhaps echoing the tireless dedication of her great-aunt Princess Anne? Time will tell. Will Louis's exuberance mature into charismatic public engagement? Speculation abounds, but early habits often leave lasting impressions. Encouraging curiosity about nature plants seeds, literal and metaphorical. Importantly, Catherine's comments stopped short of oversharing. No private photographs were released to capitalize on the moment. No staged photo ops accompanied the anecdote. The restraint is telling. It suggests the priority remains family life, not publicity. That balance, visibility without exposure, has defined the Wales parenting model. On its face, the revelation that George, Charlotte, and Lua are enthralled by wildlife photography is simple and sweet. Yet beneath the surface lies a multi-layered narrative about modernization, environmental consciousness, childhood development, and strategic communication. The monarchy's future rests not only on constitutional mechanics, but on emotional connection. Cameras in young hands, journals filled with sketches, muddy boots by the door. These images quietly reinforce continuity and humanity. In a world of rapid change, that may be the most powerful message of all. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe my channel.